Let's keep this intro short and sweet like the APNX V1 case. Yep, it might look familiar to you because it looks exactly like NZXT H6 Flow. So with that out of the way, this case is completely different and on another level in terms of build quality and features and performance. Word from a sponsor, and let's have a closer look at it.
Looking for affordable Windows or Office keys? Look no further, I got you covered. Head over to scdkey.com, pick your Windows edition, use my discount code ELITE25 to get a 25% on any Windows or Office products. Once you complete your order, after a few seconds you will receive your code. In Windows, go to Settings, there should be an Activate Windows prompt at the bottom. Click that, enter your code and wait for Windows to finish activation. To check the activation status, use the command prompt with the command slmgr.vbs/xpr and you should receive a notification that the machine is permanently activated. Once again, use code ELITE25 at scdkey.com.
The angled approach on the side of the case gives this case that unique look, because this is a dual chamber case and yet another fish tank case, but it is not at the same time. We have several options to choose when buying this case, and naturally there is a wood option that gives this case a much classier look. The prices range from $120 up to $150 and for this case the price is exactly where it should be. The case is not that bigger than any other dual chamber case, but the angle in the front makes it look narrower. Dimensions are 290mm wide by 485.5 high and it is 500mm deep. The front wooden panel is easily removable, just pull from the bottom towards you and it comes off easily, and it is held by pegs up top and in the bottom area. It also has a magnetic dust filter that matches the design of the front panel, so it all seems like one single piece. The front fan bracket is held by two thumb screws at the top and one at the bottom. The bracket is also extremely clean and is executed flawlessly, and I think all fan brackets in any case should be done like this one. You see, there are rails in the middle for 120mm fans. You remove one rail and you have mounting holes for 140mm fans. Remove another rail and you gain space for 160mm fans. So, speaking of fan support here, 3 120mm fans, 2 140mm fans and 2 160mm fans can be installed here in the front and up to 360mm in radiators. To get to the inside of the case, there is a little trick, but you are greeted with a warning sticker. Remove the top panel first, then remove a screw that holds the glass panel from dropping out during shipping. You don't need this screw afterwards when you assemble your PC. The tempered glass panel is slightly tinted, around 3mm thick, and is held by two pegs up top while it sits securely in place at the bottom with two metal lips. The interior is amazing. There are large angled rubber grommets on the side, exactly the same as on height cases. These work well, and high cables, the cable mass at the same time. There is also a larger hole at the top and another angled one at the bottom. These are without rubber grommets, but these are plastic inserts. You can remove the front glass piece by removing two screws at the side, and it reveals a slight flexing of the frame without it in place. Technically, it doesn't have to be removed at all, as it helps with rigidity of the complete frame. You can't miss the GPU holder, as it is right there looking at you and saying, "Hey, check me out, man." It can go up or down or left and right to support any GPU, be it in vertical or horizontal orientation. For vertical mounting, there is an optional Gen 5 riser and holder, by the way, purchased separately of course. Clearances for the GPUs here are up to 395mm and up to 170mm for CPU air coolers. Motherboard size support here is up to 80x, but no back connect motherboard support at all. But there is a cool feature with this case. You can move the motherboard up or down if needed. There is no need to remove the tray, just move the motherboard standoffs and that is all. So why would you need this option at first? Well, there are people that use push-pull radiators. So by doing this, moving the board lower, you gain up to 82mm of space up on the top for push-pull radiators. In the regular position there is only 62mm of space at the top. This is plenty enough for regular 360 radiators to fit without interfering with the motherboard or RAM sticks or such. But moving the board up or down also gains or loses space in the bottom. 47 when in lower position and 67 millimeters if moved in the upper position. Again, this gives you options for water cooling. And again, speaking of fan and radiator support, at the rear side you can mount only one 120mm fan with slight up or down movement. Up top there is a removable bracket that uses 6 screws. This is an insane choice and you will see why. I mean, it's good, but it's a lot of work, unnecessary work. The fan bracket can be used to mount fans or radiators outside the case and drop it in position later. It supports 3 120mm fans or 2 140mm fans and up to 360mm in radiators. There are also large enough holes here up top to pass any cables for the fans or AIUs. Oh yeah, removing the top panel is super easy, only pegs up top and a convenient handle here. This is only for the removal of the top panel. Don't try to lift the case here as it will just pop out and the panel will just fall off. Panel has these angled ventilation cutouts that could have at least been cut out in such a way that they follow the path of the airflow. Visually would be better, but it also has an integrated dust filter that is not removable, and honestly, up top you don't need dust filters. You need just a quick way to exhaust hot air outside and not block it more. So I guess this was an engineering oversight. But there is another fan bracket in the bottom area that is removable by using only one thumb screw. So why wasn't this same approach used up top? It beats me, as this is way better and easier than 6 screws up top. Anyhow, this bracket can be used to mount 3 120 or 2 140mm fans or up to 360mm in radiators again. Bracket is cut in such a way that it doesn't block the position of fan blades at all, so no unwanted turbulence nor fan blockings are happening here in the bottom. Also, in the bottom there is a full-length dust filter that looks somehow cheap. Don't get me wrong, everything else looks and feels premium, while this filter looks like it was 3D printed with those rough edges on the side. It does the job, it's just a bit fiddly to remove. At the rear side, nothing unusual for a dual chamber case, 120mm fan holes with sliding rails. You can see large square holes for ventilation, but wait, there is one unusual thing. Check out the APNX white metal thingy. There is a thumb screw here, so you can remove it and position it lower in case you are using a lower or upper motherboard position, so the IO shield can be closed off with this metal thingy. Removing the back panel is done in the same fashion as the front one. There is a screw at the top and it pops off from the pegs. It is perforated for the PSU ventilation and also comes with a magnetic dust filter that is somehow quirky to remove. I mean, I'm doing this with one hand, so it looks like that, but actually it's okay. If done with 2 hands, that is, it's all fine and dandy. PSU is installed from the inside of the case and it sits on a plate behind the motherboard. You can install up to 220mm PSUs in length. But check this out, removing these 2 screws at the bottom reveals an insanely great storage bay, storage door, however you want to call this. You can remove it completely for easier drive installation. It supports up to 6 drives, 4 2.5-inch drives and 2 3.5-inch drives, or 6 2.5-inch drives only. There are also front panel cables here, and you can see Velcro straps for major cable groups, plus zip tie points all over the case, and honestly, cable management here was a breeze. I had no issues while building in it, plus you can put the drive doors back in place and close it without any problems. The front I/O panel is also pretty straightforward and it includes audio combo jack, 2 USB 3.2 ports, 1 USB-C port, a large illuminated power button and what seems to be a reset button, but it is actually an LED switching button in case you install LED controller here. But you can't use it without some fiddling as a reset button, since the front panel connector is a single block connector, not just those 10,000 wires. So you can use some small screw and remove the pins from the LED cable and put it in the front panel connector, I mean the block, then it will act as a reset button. This is a hassle and again an engineering oversight. Just leave it as a reset button. Why so many unnecessary things? I don't know. Okay, all the things aside, building a system in this case was straightforward and super easy, so let's see the performance. I used the Trix Panorama SC for the CPU cooling, Noctua industrial PPC 120mm fans in the front, 3 of them, one 120 Noctua NF S12 and two 140 Noctua NF A14 fans at the bottom. So room temperature was 26 degrees. Look at the GPU, it sits just 1 or 2 degrees above the room temperature after 1 hour. This is nuts, 28 degrees because angled front fans are cooling the back plate of the GPU with fresh air and exhaust it further through the back and up top, while bottom fans are helping with fresh intake directly at the GPU as well. So GPU wise, this is a dream case. But wait, the CPU is also being cooled at only 41 degrees at idle after 1 hour, and this is after the stress testing. So while being stress tested, I started using OCCD tests as these can really push the system at its limits, and these temperatures are the worst case scenario. So GPU maxed out at 68 degrees while GPU maxed out at 60 degrees. Funny thing is that the fans didn't go much above 50% as I have them set like that using the fan control utility. While gaming, the CPU sits at around 58 degrees and the GPU is around 51 degrees. So again, angled front cooling helps a lot here, as you can see with the smoke tests as well. Sorry if it looks a bit too fast, again fans are 50%, so everything just flows through the case as quickly as possible. So here is what I like about this case and what I don't like and things that should be improved. Pros first. Well, obviously looks are a pro, especially with the front wooden slats. Performance is on a high level, no remarks at all there. Cable management and actually whole PC building process went without any hiccups nor major problems. Well, except one, which is a con too, but let's wait for the cons. You do get extra clips in the box and all the screws are nicely labeled as well. There is a nice GPU holder too, there is even a tiny hole to pass cables behind the PSU as well. It's a nice little quality of life touch feature. The dry bay is executed flawlessly for such a small, tinier case. But the front brackets are extremely well engineered and they should become standard for every case. PCI screws are easily accessible as well, so all in all, great. But there is one major thing happened to me while building, since there is a movable motherboard position up or down. You will of course need to move and remove motherboard standoffs. Those are those little screws that you screw the motherboard in. Well, for me one of them snapped, thread snapped. I needed to drill the old piece out and put in the new standoff, but oh wait, there are no spare motherboard standoffs in the case, I mean in the accessories, and the case promotes motherboard repositioning. What's with that? Why APNX? Why such a tiny oversight? Luckily I have spares, so I replaced the old one, but again, for someone building for the first time and this happens, well, major bummer. Top panel has no removable dust filter, which is not needed at all at the top. The temperatures could be improved up to 2 degrees when this panel, not panel actually, but the dust filter is removed, so snip time I guess. Also another con, no fans included at all, but considering the price of such a premium case, I can let this one slip through. So here are the things that could be improved. The rubber grommets on all cable holes are much better visually. Top fan brackets doesn't have to have 100 screws for it to be removed, and the top panel itself could have had angled cutouts just to follow the airflow path. I mean the visual thing, but again would have been a nice touch. So there it is guys, APNX, a fresh player in the case market. So if you didn't know, these guys also made the Haven HS 420 case, so an influence on the design from people that worked previously at Fractal, NZXT and many more is again easily spotted or noticed here on this case. But overall, great job guys, you have set a new standard at how a case should be made, from the build quality to the very nice little quality of life features, and without sacrificing performance over the visuals. Again, nice job guys. Thanks for watching guys. If you have any questions about this case, feel free to ask them in the comments. Until the next one, see you.